Good evening, gang. My name is Mostafa Hosseini. I am hanging out with Jay Fiset on a fine Tuesday afternoon. Welcome, Jay.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So we were talking about hiring a JV manager and a joint venture manager. And Jay's like, I should probably record this. And I was like, probably we should go live because some other people would probably want to hear about this and how to hire a JV manager, because I am in the process of hiring a JV manager in the next few weeks. So we decided just to go live. So this is just a casual conversation, and we're going to talk about hiring a JV manager, and Jay is going to share his experience on how to do that. And we have an exclusive offer available only through the link that I shared here in the comments. So if you want to get that exclusive deal for JVology Live, stick around. And so you're going to learn about how to hire a JV manager from a JV master and JV expert, Jay Fiset. And so that's that. So, yeah. Like I said, this is going to be a casual conversation.
Yes, good setup. I like it a lot. It's perfect.
So, Jay, I am thinking of hiring a JV manager. What do you think is the first step that I should take?
Well, here's the honest to goodness truth is that to me, it's like Yahoo, you're doing it. Like, yeah, freaking who. It is a monumental task. And in my humble opinion, it is probably more important than a salesperson. It is more important than an admin person. It is more important than a bookkeeper. And I know lots of people are going to say, no, that's not true. You got to do it the other way. But here's the thing. Time and again, people struggle with leads and struggle getting their business actually profitable and working. And a JV manager solves that with this thing called partners, leads, and sales, and the other shit you can hire afterwards. So I just fervently believe that that is one of the most important roles under the sun. So, here's the honest to goodness truth is that I think you're doing the right thing, and it might even be a little bit late for you in terms of the development of your business, but the next best time to plant an oak tree, right? Like that's where we're at. So I think here's the number one mistake that both I have made and I have seen almost every other person on planet Earth make when it comes to hiring a JV manager, is that they're not clear about the roles that they're handing over. And here's the honest to goodness truth is that at our level of business, people still want a relationship with the person who is the head of the show. So what I see people doing is like, great, you're my JV manager, go get me partners. And they expect those folks to just wander on out and get partners and bring them in. And here's the honest to goodness truth is that JVs are still most powerful when they're relationship driven. So task number one is define the roles. And the role should be primarily this. You as the head of the show, Mostafa, you are the one who's going out and shaking hands and saying, hey, Jay, we should do a deal together. And I say, hell yes, because I like you. I respect you. I know the work that you do. I know the stand that you take for your clients. We're in. But once we shake hands and say, this is when it's going to be, the truth of the matter is that both of us should disappear and go off and shake somebody else's hand. We should not be in our Infusionsoft account. We should not be sending the swipe copy. We should not be doing all of those mechanics. We shouldn't be texting the person, are they following through? We shouldn't be doing any of those sorts of things. What we should be doing is building the relationships. So here's the thing. You must in the big picture, maintain the building and the creation of the relationships. And you must be very specific about what your JV manager is going to do after you build the relationship. And you've got to keep an eye on it, but you separate those pieces. And every single time I've seen somebody try to lump those two things together, they end up being disappointed. Okay, so just own that role and have them own the mechanical role. Now, what that generally means is this. Is that you are after somebody who actually understands and uses your software. So if they've got to get an affiliate link, if they have to create an affiliate link, if they have to tweak a swipe copy, if they have to solve a problem and troubleshoot in some way, shape, or form, those are all the tasks that your JV manager is to do. So for me, I think of it like this, is that I build the relationship. Then there's this entire machine and cog that does as all of the stuff that lubricates and makes easy for the partner to do what they got to do and get great results and get paid. And it's like, and I'm being a little bit facetious here, but the truth of the matter is that you should have almost like a black box. Now you're going to have to detail what happens in the black box, but that's just stuff you don't do and your JV manager does it. Now, let's talk about payment for a brief span of time here. Is that I'm a fan in this role of having a JV manager that works just for you. Lots of JV managers want to, I'll handle just a project for you. I'll handle this, I'll handle that. That is not the wisest strategy for what I'm going to call a small but aggressively growing business. You want somebody who's working for you. And that means sometimes, this is the good, the bad, and the other thing. That means sometimes that the JV manager at the beginning of the role has to do some additional things. And maybe they're a little bit of tech, and maybe they're a little bit of this, and maybe they're a little bit of that. But you want to try and manage that as much as possible so they can still be incredibly responsive to partners. So they are the magic box, the lubricant, the safety net, and the resource that is ready like this for your partners as much as possible. And those are the biggies. Like those are absolutely the biggie. And so, here's the last thing is they need to have proven results. For the love of all things holy, I have hired a couple of people on trials that talked a good game, but at the end of the day, to get things done front to back, like that, what I'm going to call the black box, they didn't have a clue what the black box was, and I hired them to actually create the black box. No. So you must spell it out, and they should be able to bring instant results if they have some proven background. So those are the biggies from my perspective.
Okay. So let me ask you a few questions on that. So you're thinking that you are developing the relationships and your JV manager is going to maintain them for you. Am I getting that right?
Your JV manager is going to follow through on the promise. And they are going to make sure that the mechanics get executed. But to me, you still want to manage that. I don't know if manage is the right thing. You still want to be engaged in that relationship. So it's like, hey, I trust everything's good. I'm still looking forward to going, what's going on. Tell me what's going on. Like you're still going to be involved in the relationship creation and maintenance. But all of the things that make the promise of the JV experience work, that's not your role. Like you should be, and you could say to your JV partners, like, you know what, send a gift to Bob because he, it's his kid's birthday on Thursday. You should be, keeping up with some of those pieces. But the mechanical, like the details and the mechanics to get this shit done well can be daunting. And that's the part you need off your plate so that you can build better relationships with higher level people.
So you're saying I am going to be working on relationship building, and my JV manager is going to follow through on some of the promises that I have made, or whatever that needs to be done.
It should be every promise and whatever has to happen.
Right. It's whether it's like handling the back end and the software and sending them their swipe copy or their JV link and sending them a gift for their kid's birthday and showing up to an event, which is the next thing that I was going to bring up, is that I was thinking like, well, the JV manager is going to show up at different events with or without me.
Yes.
And work on developing relationships and finding JV partners, which obviously they should have the personality, the charisma, the background, and the experience to be able to do that. And obviously they're going to need to do some training, then get used to it. Because I know we want to replace ourselves, but
But see, this is the error, in my humble opinion, right? This is the error, is that people aren't, and this is the thing to remember, people for the most part aren't supporting a product. They're not necessarily supporting a service. They're not necessarily supporting an event. They're supporting you. And when you remove yourself out of it and just pass it off to the JV manager, that becomes challenging. So that's that little balancing trick.
Okay. So what do you think should be included on a job description for a JV manager?
Well, I think top of the list is that the technical aspect of any campaign they need to be able to create. So I want them to have decent copywriting skills. So can they write an email? If I say, hey, reach out, we're in the middle of an interesting campaign that we're approaching high-level partners like you. Can you write an email to actually get this done? I'll give you the chapter titles and you're going to figure the whole thing out and you will send it out. can they actually utilize the software to do that without having to bring in another person or bug you? Okay, so they've got to have basic copywriting skills and the technical expertise to use the system that you've got in place. So that to me is number one. Number two is they've got to have the organizational skills to stay on top of the contact for people. And they've got to be able to actually have what can sometimes be, difficult conversations, but it's that whole quick conversation. It's like, hey, you said you were going to mail on Tuesday, just wondering if you need anything else, which they may or may not get a response to. And it's like, hey, we did have an agreement about how this was going to go. So they've got to be friendly, but firm and consistent in that entire process.
I fell short on that in this last week that I just started my next 6th round of my Simple Marketing Formula course this week. A bunch of people said that they're going to promote, and because I got too busy, I didn't get a chance to kind of say, hey, do you need anything and all that? I think a few people got kind of forgot, which if I did that, I would have had much more traffic and promotion. And so here's another thing that happened this week. A mutual friend of ours, and I'm not going to say name names, asked me to promote her event, and I would have, because she promoted me, and I would have gladly promoted her. But because she sent me the copy, and I was like right in the middle of, I've been working 18 hours a day for the past month and a half, which we probably both have done that. And she didn't remind me on the week of or the day before. And then I forgot, right? You send it for her. And then another guy who wanted me to promote, he kept coming and say, hey, did you promote? Do you need anything else from me? And then yesterday, as I'm walking around Walmart, I swear to God, my kid is like begging me to buy him a scooter. I'm like, son, give me 1 second. I promised this guy to actually send his shit out. And then I copy pasted it on Facebook. Bam, I sent it out because he actually asked me.
Yes.
And he reminded me. So
here's the honest to God truth. And I would say this, and this is where, when I said the JV manager is one of the most important roles under the sun, is that I would say on average, 3 out of 4 people are getting swamped, busy, distracted, forgetful, all those sorts of things. And all it takes is, if for the JV manager to earn their weight in gold, is on every campaign to spend 2 or 3 days, simple, with a text, with a phone, with a Facebook message, make sure they're all in good order. And that number of 1 in 4 mails turns into 3 out of 4 mails, supports, posts, does whatever it is that they're going to do.
Absolutely.
And that's where they earn their money. You build the relationship, they take care of the mechanical reminders and all those pieces. They handle all of the other shit. And just by the way, here's the honest God truth, is that with every one of those reminders, the partner will say, yes, I said I would do that. I'd be happy to. Can you send me the swipe copy and links again? On average, you will send swipe copy and links 17 times for one campaign.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we don't have time to do that, and nor should we ever be doing that. That's the JV manager's job, to babysit, hold hands, say thanks, and nudge things along. So yes, that reminder process is where they make their money. And if they're not doing the reminder process, they're not doing their job.
Got it.
Every single person, multiple reminders.
And don't get tired of it, and don't give people shit and attitude for forgetting about your shit.
Exactly. I mean, the response is always like, hey, you said you were going to, haven't seen it yet. Is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah.
Like that's it. And if that goes 5 times ignored, it's like, happy to stop our JV process. Just need to know where you're at.
If you don't want to send it, just let me know, and I'm not going to bug you.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So that's so they've got to have some skills around that, and they've got to be willing to follow up till there is a resolution, meaning that the person does what they said they're going to do, or says, no, we're not doing this. And if they're not willing to do that, they're not the right person for the job.
Okay. How would you go about interviewing a JV manager?
I'll tell you one of the things that I made a promise to myself I was going to do before this next one. And then it turns out that the person that I hired is actually the partner of my tech guy anyway. So it was like, well, I think you're going to be okay. But I'll tell you what, I would provide limited access to my system. And I would say, I want you to create a product. I want you to write an email, and I want you to set up an affiliate campaign. And I want you to send me my affiliate links for this product. And you have 90 minutes within which to do so. And if you can't do that, you're not the person for the job.
Okay. That's fair. I like that.
Yeah. So they have to be able to do all of those pieces.
Okay.
The next thing I would ask them to do, without giving them any guidance and support, is say, I'm a JV partner. I said I was going to mail or participate. And when I say mail, that just means I do whatever I said I was going to do. And I haven't done it. It's a day later. Send me a text and leave me a voicemail.
Okay. I like that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have an application out there for those of you that are watching. This is probably a good hiring process for anybody, which I learned from one of my old coaches, Kent Bim, that I worked with him like probably five or 6 years ago. So I'm going to put on a job application a job application, and people are going to apply. Mm-hmm. I am going to respond to them with a text that says, hey, thank you for applying. We do things differently. Mm-hmm. For you to take the next step is this. I want you to call this number, leave a voicemail, and answer the following questions. Mm-hmm. What is your experience with JV Manager? Yep. Why should we hire you? And what are your next steps that you're going to take when you sign up and you become our JV Manager? Mm-hmm. What's going to happen and what's going to transpire is a bunch of tire kickers are not going to call.
Yep. It's a good filter.
Because they don't have the balls to actually pick up the phone and leave a voicemail. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then,
so it's a good test of the behavior, which has to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, because part of the process. And then you can listen to the voicemails and see which ones you like. If they sound professional, they sound friendly, are they smiling, are they comfortable, and pick the ones that you like, which is probably going to be only 2 or 3, and run maybe a group interview or a one-on-one interview and have a conversation with them. That way you're filtering out a whole bunch of people that don't belong to the job. Yep. Which in combination, then we're going to, I think, implement Jay's idea of, all right, now I want you to run a test and send this campaign and follow up on these 5 JV partners and see what you could do.
Yep.
I think that would be a powerful combo, Jay. What do you think?
I think it's absolutely worth a try. And I like the behavior of getting them to pick up the phone, because the truth of the matter is a bunch of this, when done well, is the phone and is texting. Like that's where most of this stuff happens. And here's the other thing. I don't know how to put this exactly, but I've interviewed people. It's like, well, we sent an email. It's like their assumption. Like I might ask the question of, so you send an email to a bunch of your JV partners. Now what do you do? And it's like, well, the email sent. They're going to do their thing. It's like run like hell. So the operating assumption has to be that no one read the email. Yeah. If they think that they did their job because they sent an email, they don't have a damn clue about the reality of executing these things, like none whatsoever. So, I would ask that whole piece about the email sent. Now, what do we do? And it's like, okay, well, this is what we do. Because if I, and I've had an experience. Well, it's like, well, the email was sent. It was like, that means absolutely less than 0.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about payment structure. How should we structure the payment for a JV manager?
Well, I'm going to give you broad strokes. Stroke number 1 is most of them are going to need some sort of a base if you're going to bring them in full time. So they need a base. They should have some sort of an incentive for managing the relationships that you create. And they should have a greater perk for any relationship that they bring in independently on their own. And when I say independently, that does not mean at an event that you paid for them to be at. Independently means there's somebody outside of your sphere. There's somebody that did something else somewhere else, and they've heard of you maybe, but you've never talked to them or any of those things, and they weren't at one of the events that you paid for them being at, and you say, hey, perfect. Then in this case, you're going to get a perk. And that perk could be a fixed dollar figure for anyone who goes up and actually does what they're supposed to do. That could be a percentage of that person's sales. You could think of it in a multitude of different ways. And I might look at it as a combination of those two things, which is, so if you actually get somebody who behaves properly, does what they're supposed to do, great, you got $100 perk, let's say. And if they they actually are a heavy duty player and they bring somebody who can actually deliver sales on a consistent basis, perhaps they get a perk and a percentage of that.
Okay. So
now
I know
go ahead.
You say you're going to give me some broad strokes, but what kind of base should we start with? 2, 3, 4, 5 grand plus commission? Let's just give people, viewers, something to work with. I don't know, 3 grand plus commission?
See, that's really hard for me to answer, Mostafa, because in I don't know what somebody's business is. If somebody's business is sitting at $250,000 and half of that's coming through in JV fees, then the commission isn't going to be a hill of beans, right? So that has to be put into the context of who you want. I think, and that this is, my perspective on this whole scenario, is that a good JV manager should be starting probably at 50, and based on performance should probably be able to earn 100.
Yeah. And hopefully they could probably bring in $1 million in sales. They get 10% of that, 100, and then we're good. Is that a fair statement? Or am I off the card here?
Again, it depends on somebody's business. Like if there's a great offer.
Let's pick my business.
What's that?
Let's pick my business.
Okay. So
if I'm at $250,000 right now, and I'm going to bring somebody in to take it up to $1 million with my efforts and his or her efforts. Yeah. And what is a realistic expectation for someone that is going from 6 figures pushing towards 7 figures in terms of managing their JV managers?
So if the JV manager actually brought $750,000 in sales, I think that person should earn at least $75,000.
10% of what they bring in,
plus or minus. So that means that there's a base, and to me that isn't just a 10% thing. There's a base that's going to make sure that they're solid and safe and taken care of and those sorts of things. And that if they could run a $500,000 launch or a $500,000 live event or a combination thereof, and then they're chopping along the way, I think you should be able to get some decent talent for that.
Yep. Okay. What else in terms of the JV manager? Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we get into our exclusive offer here?
Here's what I believe is that they have to be resourceful, and they have to be fast, and they have to understand people. Like that's the big thing here, is they really do need to be able to get people to act. So they've got to be motivational, inspirational, and be able to get people to act. And that is the kicker in all of this. And if they can't get people to act, and you go through this process and you give them, you've passed off 10 people, and it's like, we got the handshake and all the rest of it, and out of 10 people, 5 of them didn't do anything, then that person is probably not it. So you got to keep an eye on that process. Yeah.
Does
that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I was thinking that I should probably look for a connector personality. What do you think?
I would say yes, with the exception that they still have to handle the details. This role is a detail-y role more than it is I think this is more details than relationship, but they still need to have a clue with relationships.
Got it. I mean, in terms of follow through and follow up and having a conversation with probably their JV manager and picking up the phone and getting on the phone with some big shot and not pissing them off, they got to understand communication.
Correct.
To begin with. Okay.
Yep.
So, you got JVology Live coming up, and I am going to be there, and I'm looking forward to it. And I got my VIP tickets, and I got my interview with Krista, and I'm super happy and looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to connecting with people, because last time I did the 5-day JV challenge, I probably picked up 25 partners. So I can only imagine what's going to transpire at the event. And so tell us about that. What's happening?
Well, here's the long and the short of it is that that we do this incredible event called JVology Live. We've been doing it for 3 years, where we bring together in person. It's usually about 100, maybe 125 people, and we teach people how to structure their business models so they can use joint ventures and get a whole bunch of free leads and recurring income. We teach people, it's the what to do. This is how you should do it. This is how to do it. We actually hold your hand and do it. And then we give you the actual partners to do it with. And the JVology Live that we've got coming up is online. You get to participate from the comfort of your own home. It is, we're going to have over 200 people at it. And in those 200 people, you will leave with partners. All you need to do is follow the steps, do what we say, show up in a meaningful manner, and you will leave with the, in a 5-day challenge, which was, what we call our freebie intro. You left with over 20 partners. In this circumstance, with the VIP ticket where you get featured, we're going to do JV brokering for you, quite frankly. But by the way, if anybody's here, it's like, what could a JV manager do? Hell, just buy a VIP ticket and we will deliver for you 5 people on your upstream and downstream. Like you can't freaking go wrong with that. So the big idea is this. I think lots of events tell you what to do. Some of the better events tell you, how to do it. But we bundle it together in the what, the how, and the who, and you leave making money. And we do it better, I believe, than anyone else on planet Earth. Our training is exceptional. The resources are exceptional. The way we frame practicing what we call JV introductions, you will have an opportunity to make your JV introduction individually to, if you're showing up and doing it, you will get through well over 125, maybe 150 people. So the purpose of it is to practice so you can own it. But the truth is it spits out partners, which is pretty freaking stunning. So it's online June 12th to 14th. If you do VIP, there's a pre-event mastermind actually on the 11th for about 2 hours. So make sure you get ready and rolling with this. We include a 14-day email course called the JVology Roadmap so that you get prepared to hit that event, feet on the ground rolling. And we have an incredibly immersive experience, including a physical box that we call the Partner Creation Package that gets delivered to your home. And it has your workbook. It has a whole bunch of connection tools. It has a wine glass because we also have a little bit of fun at our events. So we're going to share a glass of wine or whatever you prefer virtually. I could get carried away, but those are the biggies. Think of it this way. Even if you don't have a clue about what JVs are, you will leave with partners that will make you money. And it is $197 for a regular ticket. It is $397 for a VIP ticket. That includes, it includes us featuring you to our tribe. You end up on our very important partner page. You end up with JV brokering. You have the capacity to have your own booking link so you can actually book real appointments to have meaningful conversations. So I think we're going to do a way better job of connecting people in the virtual, the online event than in person, because we can strategically sort and make time for people to connect. Anyway, you might be able to tell I'm a little excited about it because it's going to be freaking awesome.
So guys, for those of you who are watching, I'm going to post the link right now. This link, the prices that he just mentioned, I just spent like half an hour negotiating with Jay. He's like, "Oh, this was
my arm hurts. My arm hurts."
So honestly, he's like, "Oh, that was at the event only offer." So here's the deal: click on the link. You're probably not going to see this. Like if you go to JVology Live, you're going to see that the price of the event is $197 or $297.
It's $197 for the regular ticket, $397 for the VIP. And, just to put that in perspective, currently we're sitting just under 100 people registered. And basically outside of our challenge, everyone has paid that full freight. So this is a hell of an opportunity to get it through Mostafa's link, and you really should do that.
So the regular ticket is 50% off. You only get it at $97. Gang, it's 3-day event when you will learn how to joint venture, what you need in place, how to get JV ready, get step-by-step process on what you need for the technicalities, for the people, and you get to practice your JV pitch for like about 3 days, lots of breakout sessions, hot seats. Are we going to have hot seats?
Well, I do a hot seat on a Saturday night. So you can apply for a hot seat and I will work through people's business models and processes about how I would integrate joint ventures. So yes, there are some hot seats in that scenario. We don't do a ton of hot seats outside of that. Simply the reason being is that sometimes as people are at the beginning of learning this, it is sometimes a little bit like the blind leading the blind. And I find that a little bit frustrating and challenging. So there are hot seats, which you can apply for, which I will do on Saturday night. And there's a multitude of opportunities to share and to ask questions. This is a highly interactive experience. So if you have a question about it, like just ask. And I've been at this for, it's not my first canoe trip. I've been at this for about 35 years. I can steer you in the correct direction.
Okay. So tell us about these breakout sessions, because I've been at a few of them and people absolutely. So here's my experience on breakout sessions. We get out in a breakout session, maybe with 4 or 6 or 7 people. You do a pitch practice. That's where you, I'm in Al-Moody. You probably can join the hot session as well and apply for it. And Jay and his team will review your application and see if they could get you in. If you get the ticket through our link, you get the exclusive offer. Anyway, you get to do your pitch to 6 or 7 people. And if they like and they trust you based on your pitch, then they will say something like, you know what, I'd like to connect after.
Yes.
Right. So that pitch is leveraged. And that's aside from the fact that these people are coming there to connect with other people. So they are pre-qualified. It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe you just tried to sell me something. They are there to get sold.
But and I want to be clear about something. They're there to get sold on great partnerships. And exactly. I will talk at great length about the difference between a retail conversation and a peer-to-peer partner conversation. And the retail conversation is something that don't do there. People aren't there to buy your retail product unless, of course, they are and they ask, in which case have that conversation. But you got to be very cautious that you do not use those breakout sessions and what we call the JV invitation sessions. I actually have a little bit of a to the word pitch. I really love the invitation grounding. So what we're after here, and I want to be so clear about this, is that the quality of the peer-to-peer conversations is epically important. And sometimes the beginners get stuck in their retail conversation of this is the best modality and it's like, stop that. This is a business opportunity, not a retail sales opportunity. And anyway, so I will talk a lot about that. And we actually teach a process. You will end up with what we call a joint venture invitation one sheet that you will leave JVology Live with, and you will hone and practice and have feedback from quite literally hundreds of people to make sure that it speaks to the heart of what your ideal partners want, need, and desire. So they can give you a hell yes, or it's like, hey, great, let's book an appointment. Here's my calendar link so we can have a more meaningful conversation about this post-event. So yeah, you're going to get an incredible amount of leverage. And I want to just add one other thing as well. We are doing something a little bit new in this process, which is, sometimes people take this a little personally, but I just want to say it as clear as I can. It's important that all people in those invitation sessions know where they're at in their process. So we divide our community at our live event into 3 different categories. Category number 1 is eager and willing. These are the folks that are trying to just finalize what their offer, their product service experience is, in the process of collecting maybe their first 10 happy customer testimonials. They're in that process, eager and willing. Now, here's the truth of the matter. In every eager and willing community, there's a couple of rising stars that you are going to be eating their dust in about 3 weeks or 3 months, right? So there's the eager and willing. There's tremendous opportunity there because these folks generally work harder in the JV space, okay? Then there's the people who are in process. They're folks who have, their CRM is done, their offer is ready, they've tested a bunch of things, and it's like, if I said, yes, I would mail for you, it's like, great, let's do a couple of things, and we'd be ready to roll. You'd get everything you need in 24 hours to 48 hours. And then there's like the ready pros, which is like, here's my affiliate link, jvology.com/partner. Fill it out. You'll get everything you need. Let's go. So those are the 3 categories. And in our event, we make everybody self-identify at the beginning. And what happens is that means that people who are eager and willing, they need a little bit different support than the people who are in process. people in process need a little bit different support than the people who are ready pros. And just being able to identify that accelerates the quality of the conversations, the depth of the connection, and the likelihood of real results. Super proud of that.
So I just hope I didn't come across. I know I said I came across a little salesy, but this is not a sales pitch fest. Is what I want. I just want to clarify that is that people are ready. Are there and ready to listen to your message, and they're eager and willing to form a partnership. They're not there to swipe their credit card and so you could sell your shit and walk out. You know, we are there to. It's about relationships. So I just wanted to clarify that.
100%.
And so, 100%. Jay, this is happening over a weekend in June, right?
Yes. So the there's a pre-event mastermind, which is on the 11th. That runs from 4 till 6. Then we have a pre-event VIP. If you choose to go VIP, you'll get to meet some of the movers and the shakers. And we've got some extra special little conversations and highlights that will happen the evening before. And then we're on the 12th to the 14th. And you set that whole time aside because these are 3 days that will make your business money. This is not one of those things that you should be, putting on in the background, because the truth of the matter is that it's highly interactive. It is an immersive experience. You're going to be in and out of the breakout rooms, which we would call the tables, for your invitations. And you're going to be doing work, and you are going to leave with partners, and you are going to make money. Everyone who has a clue does. So join us, and it'll knock your socks off.
So, gang, for the $97 that you're going to invest, and this is a true investment, and the returns are, I'm thinking probably 100x on that $97.
If you have an offer, hell yes. That's on the low side.
Jake, can I share a little thing about the offer?
Please.
So when you show up to this event, here's a little get ready for you. Don't act like a beginner. Don't try to look like a beginner. Be confident in what you have and what you have to offer. That's point number one. Because a lot of times I talk to people and they're like, oh, I'm just beginning. I don't know what to do. Like, don't do that. It doesn't make you look good. Be confident. Be like, here's what I'm doing. Here's my offer. Now, for the offer, be like, think about what you're going to offer at the event. And obviously, this is not written in stone, so you can edit and modify as you go. Every time you do a pitch, you could walk out and between your breakout sessions, you can modify your pitch and optimize it. Right?
Yes. We in fact, we build that into the model of the course. No. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. So, yeah, I'm here. You got me?
Yep.
So, as you walk in, just think about what you're going to offer, whether it's a course, whether it's a product, and then be like, hey, here's what I do. Here's who this is for. Here's the price, and here's what I'm willing to give away to my JV partners for promoting me. And the norm, depending on what you do, is anywhere from 10 to 50% of the money that you charge. You just give away to your partners for promoting you and opening you up to their list and to their tribe, right? Yes. Here's another point that I want to make, and I've had about 80 JV conversations. Oh, God. You got me?
Yeah, I'm not losing you.
Is Facebook trying to kick us out?
I don't know the answer to that.
Something is not quite working. Anyway,
on my end, it looks fine, but I don't know what's going on there.
Anyway, so one more thing that I want to add there. And that's about the size of your list. I mean, everybody has a list. Do not try to downplay your list. Whether you have 100 people or 1,000 people or 2,000 people, just tell them my list size is 100 people, and these are all my customers. They're not average Joe that I found on the street that I have nothing to do with.
Yes. I
have a relationship with my customers, and every time I email my list, between 30 to 50% of my list actually opens the list, and they click on what I send them. So, couple of get ready, I guess, tips for you. And the course, the email course that Jay is going to send you, that is 14 pieces.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks prior, and if one daily action, one grounding piece will have you coming in raring to go, understanding so much more about it.
So what I'm going to say is, if you actually follow what he's teaching in those 14 emails, that's like a university class right there. You will be JV ready. So just follow instructions, which I'm not really good at, but
ditto.
And then you will be ready. So the investment is $97 or $297 as a VIP, and you get featured, you get brokering from Jay and his team. Plus, they're going to send you an amazing gift box that I'm waiting on to see, and I want to see what's in it. Is there like a bottle of wine in there, Jay?
You know what? We tried so hard, Mostafa, to send wine, and the truth is, we can't state lines and all the rest of it. So here's what you'll get. You'll get a wicked book. You're going to get a JVology emblazoned wine glass. You have to supply your own wine. You're going to get a JVology T-shirt. You're going to get your workbook. You're going to get a couple of pens. You're going to get some sticky notes. You're going to get a game board. You're going to get a game piece and game players. It's going to be pretty exceptional, frankly.
Yeah. And so here's what I'm going to try to do. Here's the link for those. Bridget is watching. Bridget, great to have you here. So is Paige. I want to say hi to Lauren and everybody else that is watching. The link is right there. You can just click on it. And if it's not getting posted on Facebook, I will log in after and I will do it. I'll post it here. Maybe I could just log in right now and post it. Now, Jay, before we get going, is there anything that you'd like to add that we haven't talked about or discussed so far?
Great question. I think what I'd like to leave people with is this. We are currently in an odd time in the history of humanity and the circumstances of entrepreneurship. And in difficult times, there's one thing that we as human beings have done well historically, is that in difficult times, we come together. Now, what's ironic about this is that the very rub of this pandemic and COVID is that we can't come together in the ways that we're used to coming together. It's not how it goes, social distancing, mall, everything's closed. So here's what we have done, and here's my invitation to each of you, is that just because we can't come together in the traditional manners doesn't mean that we can't come together in even more powerful ways. And what we are dedicated to creating in JVology Live Online is a coming together of like-minded entrepreneurs, is a sort of a groundswell of support for you, your business, the people that you should be serving. It is a way to actually solve more of your clients' problems in more meaningful ways at a more profitable level. So if any of this pandemic stuff has caused you, as by the way, it did me at the beginning, has caused you to sort of lean back a little bit and get on your heels, if it's caused any sort of financial hardship, if it's changed how you are acquiring customers, if any of those things are going on, you simply must, and I mean this, must find a way to set that time frame, June 11th to 14th aside, register for the event with Mostafa's link, and bring yourself to the event with this question or with this intention, which is, what if this difficulty of the pandemic actually led me to a more efficient business model? What if this pandemic led me to my actual tribe of people that serve my clients? What if this pandemic could make my business more profitable and my life more joyful? And the answer to that question across the board is yes, it can be done. And what you need is a community, what you need is support, and what you need is a business model that spits out, please hear this, leads and recurring income on a consistent basis that solidifies and stabilizes this crazy up and down thing that many entrepreneurs face. Basically, That's what JVology does. So come play with us.
So let me share my quick experience with you on filling up my event. Mm-hmm. I've got a list. I've got advertising campaigns going on. I've got some personal friends and connections. And in the past 6 weeks, I've been filling up my event through JV Partners. Mm-hmm. And here's what transpired last week. I had please hear this, 15-minute conversation with somebody that didn't know me from a sack of potato. Within 15 minutes, We connected really well, and she sent my offer to her list of 8,000 people. Honest to God, she didn't know me. We connected through JVX, which we know about, and 8,000 people, 15 minutes. And I'm going, where on earth can I get someone to promote my event within 15 minutes to 8,000 people? You know how much money you have to spend to put together a list of 8,000 people?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, tell me about it. So it's like they've already got the relationship. You just have to be confident. You have to present yourself, practice a few times, for heaven's sake, and present yourself confidently, and you are very, very, very likely to actually find someone that is going to promote you. I've even seen people where they didn't even have an offer and they got partners.
Yes.
Because they were good people and they're like, you know what? I like you. I'm going to support your cause and I'm going to promote you, even if you don't have a clue what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. So just to put that in perspective, to build a list of 8,000 people, if you were to use Facebook ads and those sorts of things, that's about $80,000. So you got to borrow the influence, the leverage, and the access that is worth at least $80,000 through a 15-minute conversation. And we do that at JVology Live all the time. Here, I want to show you. This is what my wife just brought me. So we got to wrap up.
All right, I'm ready to go up. My kids are screaming upstairs as well. For those of you who joined us later, this was just a friendly, casual conversation that Jay and I just decided to go live because I asked him about how to hire a JV manager. And he's like, we should probably record this. And I said, we should probably go live on internet so that other people could listen into it. So if you want to learn and discover how to hire a JV manager and get Jay's perspective on it, scroll back to the beginning of this video, watch a few bloopers, and then we dive right into how to hire a JV manager, and use my exclusive link that I have provided on the comments to get 50% off the regular ticket and 30 or 40% off the VIP ticket. The VIP ticket is a no-brainer. Go ahead and sign up for it. And here, Ayman is asking how to select and approach the JV manager. I mean, where to find them. Is that another hour of conversation, Jay?
So here's a quick hint. There will be a bunch of people who are in that role and do that stuff at JVology Live. Get your ass there. And now I'm going to eat my hamburger.
Yes. All right, gang. Thanks for joining us, Jay. By the way, Simple Marketing Formula is also coming up on June 15th. It's going to happen right after Jay's event. So sign up for Jay's event. We're going to hang out. We're going to get to know each other. And then I'm going to help you build your one-page marketing plan. And I'm going to show you where you could fit your JV activities on your marketing plan and maybe how to make it your main lead generation and lead conversion strategy. So join us there at Simple Marketing Formula. Join JVology Live. Thanks, Jay. You're dying to have your food. I know your wife and kids are probably. My kid shows up here and he's like, Dad, we gotta really go. And I'm like, son, I'm in the middle of an interview here. Come on.
And my door's open 3 times with the heads coming through this way. All right, brother. We will talk soon. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to hanging out with you again.
Thank you. So again, this was a great conversation. That was fantastic. We are going to have a lot of fun at JVology Live, and we're going to have a ton of fun at what you might call it, Simple Marketing Formula, that we're going to start in the middle of June, right after JVology Live, starting on June 15th. That's going to be an amazing one. So I am actually going to leave the link here for Simple Marketing Formula as well. Join SMF. That is going to be amazing. We've got an exclusive offer for Simple Marketing Formula as well, where you get the entire course valued at about $5,000 for a mere $47 investment. That's where we spend a week, actually less than 7 days, 6 days, to develop your one-page marketing plan. My name is Mostafa Hosseini. Thank you for joining us. It was a blast to have a friendly conversation, and I'll see you at either JVology Live or at Simple Marketing Formula Bootcamp. Have a great evening, and bye now.